Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the I Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. So today's video, I've asked the question, what can humanity expect in 2023? What can humanity expect in 2023? And if you find this video 2 weeks from the time it's published, or 2 years from the time it's published, or 5 months from the time it's published, the time frame doesn't matter. Whenever you find this reading, the timeless messages are here to help you and guide you. So, the first hexagram that we see is number 36, darkening of the light. And then the second hexagram is peace. I believe that's the second hexagram. 1 second. Yes, Tai, peace, like Tai Chi. So let's start with the first hexagram, number 36, darkening of the light. Here the sun, and the sun is represented by the lower trigram Li, the clinging fire. Here the sun has sunk under the earth and is therefore darkened. The name of the hexagram means literally wounding of the bright. Hence the individual lines contain frequent references to wounding. The situation is the exact opposite of that in the previous hexagram. The previous hexagram was progress. In this hexagram, in the previous hexagram, a wise person at the head of affairs has able helpers, and in company with these helpers makes progress. In this hexagram, a person of dark nature is in a position of authority and brings harm to the wise and able people. The judgment, darkening of the light. In adversity, it furthers one to be persevering. A person must not unresistingly let themselves be swept up or swept along by unfavorable circumstances, nor permit their steadfastness to be shaken. So this means that we shouldn't just let ourselves, without resistance, be swept along by unfavorable circumstances, nor should we permit our steadfastness or our consistency and perseverance to be shaken. A person can avoid this by maintaining their inner light while remaining outwardly yielding and tractable. Tractable, I wrote this down because it's an unfamiliar word to me. Tractable means flexible and manageable. So be yielding and flexible with others. With this attitude, a person can overcome even the greatest adversities. In some situations, indeed, a person must hide their light in order to make their will prevail in spite of the difficulties in their immediate environment and in their living experience. Perseverance must dwell in innermost consciousness and should not be observable from without by others. Only thus is a person able to maintain their will in the face of difficulties. So here we have the idea of maintaining your light, but essentially hiding it to protect yourself, because the situation is such that powers that are in charge could be dangerous, and your situation is not a strong situation to let that light fully shine. So continue to persevere in your inner being, but don't let this inner perseverance and this inner light be understood, discernible, or observable from outside. So this is the way to maintain your will in the face of difficulties. These difficulties being considerate. So the image, the light has sunk into the earth, the image of darkening of the light. Thus does the superior person live with the great mass. The person veils their light, yet still shines. In a time of darkness, it's essential to be cautious and reserved. A person should not needlessly awaken overwhelming enmity, which is hostility, by inconsiderate behavior. So the idea here is that we shouldn't awaken hostility or resistance from others by acting inconsiderately. So in such times, a person ought not to fall in with the practices of others. So don't be like other people that are doing things that you normally would not be doing. And neither should this person drag others censoriously into the light. What does censoriously mean? Well, it's related to the idea of censor or censorship. So you shouldn't drag people critically or rigidly or severely into the light. You may see what they're doing, but it's important that you don't drag them in a critical fashion out into the open. This is not going to work well at this point. So, in social interactions, a person should not try to be all-knowing, and a person should let many things pass without being fooled. So essentially, pay attention, be aware. I'm sure there's going to be things that you're going to see that are not going to be good, not going to be right, but try not to bring others into the light with a lot of critical judgment and censorship, rigidity. Don't be fond of criticism. Try not to be critical. Let them do their thing, but also don't be fooled and let many things pass without trying to bring everything into the light. So the changing line is in the second position on the lower trigram. It's the 6 in the second position, the broken feminine line, the yin line. And 6 in the second place means darkening of the light. Injures him in the left thigh. He gives aid with the strength of a horse. Good fortune. Here, the Lord of Light is in a subordinate place and is wounded by the Lord of Darkness. So the Lord of Light is in a subordinate or lower or submissive place and is wounded by the Lord of Darkness. But the injury is not fatal. It is only a hindrance. Rescue is still possible. The wounded man gives no thought to himself. He thinks only of saving the others who also are in danger. Therefore, he tries with all his strength to save all that can be saved. There is good fortune in thus acting according to duty. So the wounded man can be woman or man. The gender is not important. But the important thing is that this person, this superior person, doesn't think about themselves. They think about saving others who are also in danger. And they try with all their strength to save all who can be saved. Okay, so this is the important way to be in 2023, to think of others. How can I help others? How can I take my thoughts off myself and help to save others who are also in danger? And how can I use my strength to save those who can be saved? So moving from the hexagram darkening of the light, wounding of the bright, we go to number 11, which is peace, which is the earth above heaven, or heaven on earth. So this is the two primal powers, the top trigram being Kun, the earth, all feminine lines, all broken lines, in the bottom hexagram Chien being heaven or the Father, all solid lines. The balance between yin and yang, feminine and masculine. The receptive, which moves downward, which is the upper trigram, stands above the creative, which moves upward and is below. Hence their influences meet and are in harmony, so that all living things bloom and prosper. So there are two movements, Kun moving downward, the earth moving downward, and heaven moving upward. They come together in union. This hexagram belongs to the first month, February, March, at which time the forces of nature prepare the new spring. The judgment, peace, the small departs, the great approaches, good fortune, success. This hexagram shows a time in nature when heaven seems to be on earth. Heaven has placed itself beneath the earth, and so their powers unite in deep harmony. Then peace and blessings descend upon all living things. In the world of humanity is a time of social harmony. Those in high places show favor to the lowly, and the lowly and inferior, in their turn, are well disposed toward the highly placed. There is an end to all feuds. Inside, at the center, in the key position, is the light principle. The dark principle is outside. Thus, the light has a powerful influence, while the dark is submissive. In this way, each receives its due. When the good elements of society occupy a central position and are in control, the evil elements come under their influence and change for the better. When the spirit of heaven rules in humanity, humanity's animal nature also comes under heaven's influence and takes its appropriate place. The individual lines enter the hexagram from below, at the bottom, and Chen, and leave it again at the top. Here the small, weak, and evil elements in the upper trigram are about to take their departure, while the great, strong, and good elements are moving up. This brings good fortune and success, and this paints an image of a time in which inferior people are leaving the scene and the superior people that are aligned with what's good, moral, true, with heaven's nature are coming into their power. The image, heaven and earth unite, the image of peace. Thus, the ruler divides and completes the course of heaven and earth. The ruler furthers and regulates the gifts of heaven and earth, and so the ruler aids the people. The ruler could be thought of as the government in some circumstances, if it's willing to help in terms of being an advocate for heaven on earth and furthering and regulating the gifts of heaven and earth and aiding the people. So we here have an image of something that's coming into a greater balance and harmony and thus aids the people. Heaven and earth are in contact and combine their influences, producing a time of universal flowering and prosperity. This stream of energy must be regulated by the ruler of men. It is done by a process of division. Thus, humanity divides the uniform flow of time into the seasons, according to the passing of natural phenomena, and marks off infinite space by the points of the compass. In this way, nature, in its overwhelming abundance, is bounded and controlled. On the other hand, nature must be furthered in its productiveness. This is done by adjusting the products to the right time and the right place, which increases the natural yield. This controlling and furthering activity of humanity in its relation to nature is a work on nature that rewards humanity. I'd just like to delve into a little bit different perspective here from a different source of the I Ching, Walking Your Path, Creating Your Future by Hilary Barrett. And in this particular hexagram of flow, peace is known as flow in this particular interpretation. The question is, how will you work with this extraordinary potential of yours? How can you channel the flow of energy to create harmony? Flow, the small goes, the great comes. Good fortune, creating success. Flow is a sign of the free and full expression of tremendous creative energy. It is the name of China's most sacred mountain, Tai, which is imbued with spiritual power. The king would make great offerings at its summit to establish a flourishing, peaceful relationship with heaven. This is a time to create harmony with the greater flow, letting its energy pour into creative manifestation. As a river flows down into a fertile valley, pettiness is swept away downstream. Feuds, pettiness are swept away downstream, and the way opens for free communication. Great things become possible. The true scale of things is revealed, dwarfing your smaller concerns. You sense the powers that surge through your life and know how far beyond your control they are. Yet you can enter into true relationship with these powers and participate in flow. The image, heaven and earth communicate. Flow, the prince, enriches and completes the way of heaven and earth, and upholds and assists the order of heaven and earth to support and protect the people. Creative force flows through the earth. Potential joins with the space for growth. Everything is possible. The prince, blessed with flow, wholly invests himself in bringing it to fruition or to blossom in the human realm. The prince weaves the powers of inspiration and realization together into a synergistic context for creative work. So power of inspiration and realization come together for creative work. To bring out its full potential, the prince will work actively to bring all people, energies, and areas of life into harmony inside its embrace. And this seems to be echoing with the idea of the number 36 hexagram, darkening of the light, where the recommendation is to work for the benefit of saving people that are in danger with all one's might. And here we have the idea of working to bring all people, energies, and areas of life into harmony. So, is there anything else that I can read here? Okay. I think that's about it for this. Flow, like the name suggests, heaven and earth connect. The following hexagram doesn't show flow. It actually shows obstruction. What's the name of it? It's called standstill. You could also think about a standstill as being blocked. And in this hexagram of peace or flow, energies are moving. In the following hexagram of standstill, energy begins to close down. So flow in this particular hexagram of peace makes everything possible. So hopeful ideas for sure. The idea of assisting others who are in danger, not just thinking about yourself, but taking the power within yourself to assist others and working toward that end. And also darkening of the light, making sure that you do not let your light shine so brightly and bring others into the light in a judgmental or critical way that you arouse hostility. Yes, truly let your light shine, but veil it to a certain degree so that you do not arouse resistance and hostility from others. Because the time indicates that there are inferior people who are in control. Perhaps the government, perhaps outdated ideologies. We see a lot of changes on the earth with war in Ukraine and Russia. Russia being the aggressor, coming in and trying to take over lots and lots of areas of Ukraine, the whole country if they can, and Ukraine standing up to that aggressor. We see changes in Iran with lots of problematic ideologies that people do no longer support, and the regime would be thought of as likely the inferior person or being who is unfortunately in a position of power. But the hopeful message is that even though we're experiencing all these types of situations, even the idea of censorship of speech and of writing, there's so much of an emphasis on using particular words and not using other words in our language, in our writing. And this has got to such an extreme that this has become, I would say, the darkening of the light, where people are oppressed. They have to hide their light. They can't say or communicate what they really think for fear of arousing problems with the others who seem to be in a ruling position, the inferior ones who seem to be in a ruling position. But this is all changing. Revolution is not to be feared, and the movement is toward peace and harmony. So it will take some effort and some work, and we have to be careful how much we shine. We have to veil that to some degree to not arouse hostility and so forth. But it is a hopeful message in that it has movement toward peace, and helping one another to move out of danger will be of primary interest for everyone. And we can do so if we come together and think about others and how we can assist. So I hope this message has helped you in regards to what we can expect from 2023. I'm sure this is a snapshot. I'm sure there's a lot of different ideas that can be brought through, and perhaps in subsequent videos I'll ask more about what we can expect from 2023 to get more information. So I hope this has been helpful, informative to you, and I would listen to this once or twice more and maybe write down some of the most important ideas that you've gleaned from this and try to incorporate those into your life in the next days and weeks. Thanks for listening, and take care.